Euro 7 emission limits are being opposed. AMG scooter. Bridgestone using recycled material in their tyres. USA and Australia do a deal on rare earths. Caterham 7 goes EV. Honda back in F1 for 2026. NSU Audi celebrate 150 years. Omi home charger. Hello, my name is Paul Callan and welcome to this week's MotorZen News. Euro 7 regulations is supposed to come into place for 2025, but right now 8 European countries are opposing those regulations. We'll remember Euro 6 specifically for AdBlue. Euro 7 is much more stringent, much more difficult to meet. Some of the items that are on it are onboard pollution monitoring systems, brake and tyre particulate reductions or limits on the particulates coming off brakes and tyres. And the countries that are opposing this are France, Italy, Czech Republic, Bulgaria, Hungary, Poland and Slovakia. They're saying that the limits are too strong, that it requires too much investment, and that this money will be better spent on zero emissions cars. Europe says it improves health, it's going to prevent automakers from cheating the emissions. But there actually are enough countries here to block this. So it's interesting because there probably is going to have to be a rollback for Europe to be able to pass this. So these emission standards are probably going to have to reduce just a little bit in order to get this one through. AMG, the performance brand of Mercedes-Benz, are bringing out an e-scooter. Yeah, you heard it first. They're saying it's got performance, high quality and sporty elegance. It's going to do 40 kilometers in one charge, and it'll do 40 kilometers an hour. Yeah. So rush down now to your Mercedes dealer and get your AMG e-scooter. They're going to go quick. Bridgestone are producing a new tyre for EVs, and they're saying that this tyre is made of 50% renewable or recyclable materials. The black carbon is coming off the end-of-life tyres. Synthetic rubber is coming from recycled plastic bags and recycled bottles. They're also going to use renewable soybean oil, and they're going to use silica from rice husks. The first cars to use this is going to be Tesla and Ford Mach-E. So again, I don't understand why they're specifically saying it's an EV tyre, but certainly one thing that came up during the week was that, again, that EVs are particularly hard on tyres. I heard someone in the trade speak about a Skoda Enyaq, which at 8,000 miles requires four new tyres. So maybe this is the reason that the recycling idea is coming in behind EV tyres, because I think there's going to be a lot of uproar over how much or how quick tyres get used up on EVs. USA and Australia have done a deal on rare earth. USA wants to reduce its reliance on China. So Australia has half of the lithium production in the world. And this deal means that Australia is regarded as a domestic supplier to America. So it will be able to avail of all the tax credits that exist in America for the American companies to use these rare earth materials in building electric vehicle batteries back in America. So again, USA wanting to not have to deal with China and trying to find ways around that more and more, and this is another example of that. Caterham 7 is pretty much known to anybody who is involved in any form of motorsport. It's been around for a really long time. A lightweight, open top, two-seater, and you sit on the rear axle effectively. It's a lot of fun, really great feeling through your bum sitting on that rear axle. Usually early days would have used Ford Crossflows, Ford Z-Techs, in some instances it used Cosworths. Well, they are just about to show their prototype EV. Yep. They're using a 240 brake horsepower e-axle. Battery pack is 40 kilowatt hour. Whole thing's weighing around 70 kilos, which they say it's coming in around the same weight as the overall weight's coming in around the same weight as a conventional engine. 0 to 64 seconds. Track time full power 20 minutes with 15 minutes charge time to do 20 minutes again. And they're able to do this because they're immersing the battery in a cooling pack, and that will allow it to have 150 kilowatt charge speed. So, you know, do we perceive the day now when we're going to have 20-minute races with these cars and then 50 minutes come in to charge and off you go again? It's very viable. Probably going to need a lot of infrastructure now at racetracks to charge these type of cars as well. But, you know, something that's been around a long time, the Caterham 7, now going EV as well. At the end of 2020, Honda announced that when they completed their contracts, they were going to stop being involved with F1. Well, this week they've just come out and said they're getting back involved with F1, and they're getting back involved with Aston Martin for the 2026 regulations. That's when the new rules come out. The new regulations are going to mean that you're going to have your cars are going to have to produce 50-50 power. So 50% power from your electric and 50% power from your engine. Your engine is going to run on 100% synthetic fuel. They're going to have to triple the energy recovery system, triple the energy that's being recovered from the energy recovery system. And Honda says this is profoundly significant. They said that this is going to give them lots of information and lots of knowledge about how to use this technology in the development of future road cars. So interesting that they decided to step away, and now they're deciding to step back in again. But we're seeing this. We're seeing Porsche, we're seeing Audi, and we're seeing Ford, who's joining ranks with Red Bull. So all of these manufacturers now are really conscious that these 2026 regulations, it's going to require a lot of technical ability and skill to meet them, but all of that skill and knowledge that they're going to use developing these race cars is going to be very helpful to them in developing modern road cars. Interesting to say as well that Honda came back in, and I think with McLaren in 15, that relationship lasted until 17, because Honda had a very, very difficult time when they first came back into F1, and the relationship with McLaren and Honda fell apart, and that's when Red Bull got involved, and the rest is history, because it's been a very successful period for Honda and Red Bull. NSU are celebrating their 150th birthday. NSU started off in 1873 making knitting machines, and then in 1901 they started to make motorcycles, and then in 1905 they started to make cars. And you're probably wondering, well, you don't hear the brand anymore, so what significance it is it? Well, in 1967 NSU produced we should have some images of it here, our RO80. Fantastic design. Even to this day it looks modern. But this was the vehicle that bankrupted the company, and the company became Audi in 1969 when Volkswagen Group bought them out. So effectively you're celebrating 150 years of Audi, because that's the link. The whole link is the whole way through right to the current day with Audi. So going back to the RO80, the styling of the car was light years ahead. Still looks modern today. But they took this mad punt and they licensed the Mazda technology to put a Wankel engine into that car, and that broke the company, because they couldn't get it. Obviously they couldn't get it to work right. The tips were constantly wearing out on the car, but the styling of the car was amazing. But a sad end to NSU. But then when Audi Volkswagen took them over in 69, we can now celebrate 150 years from 1873 making the first sewing machine to the current Audi cars we know today. Interesting story here. A company in Cork called OMI is now becoming the official partner of Volvo, in that assisting Volvo customers with the installation of their home charging units. OMI is the official partner to put in the home charging units if you buy a new Volvo. But the reason I like this story is it's one of the few stories where we've actually got some figures. And what OMI are saying is that if they install a home charger and you own a Volvo C40, and that Volvo C40 is absolutely zero, dead, no charge in it whatsoever, and you charge it to 100% on off-peak electricity, that will cost you €8.23. They're saying that vehicle will travel 451 kilometers. That's 10,000 kilometers for €183. So it's not often we see the prices and we can work this thing out. But when you look at that off-peak electricity charges, it kind of starts to make electric cars look a bit more sensible. And yes, I know everybody says the initial price is very expensive, but when you look at how low that energy charge costs, it is making EV probably very attractive on the long term. That's it for this week. Thanks for tuning in, and if you could please hit that like button, it would help us a lot. And if you know anyone else out there that might like to subscribe, or if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe. Thanks for that, and see you next week.